What's up, guys? How's it going? The summer festival season has come to an end, but it's already time to start thinking about next year's to get us through those cold winter months. First up from us here at the Alt Vault, we have Slam Dunk 2025, the first release of the bands. What do you think to it, guys?
Do you want to take this one, Shane, or because I have many thoughts.
So do I. I could talk a long time about this lineup.
Yeah.
We'll start.
I
We'll start
mean,
with the headliners or the top of the bill.
Well, right.
And
So
work
this
our way
this is
down.
a question that I have straight away, right? So I've been conditioned. We've been to lots of festivals over the last few years, right?
Mm.
Now, when you look at a festival lineup poster, especially the first one, you can instantly tell who like the headliners are. Apart from A Day to Remember, I can't tell who the other stage headliners are on this. I'm gonna guess at Neck Deep and Electric Callboy, but only because they seem to be the biggest bands there. But like, if you were just to look at this in terms of logos dotted around on a page, I couldn't tell you. Like, if I didn't know how big any of these bands were, I couldn't tell you who the headliner
True.
was based on this poster. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know who's headlining,
yeah,
what stage, but I assume it would be A Day to Remember, Electric Callboy, and Neck Deep.
Mm.
I don't know because you could argue Newfound Glory and Alkaline Trio probably wouldn't come over unless they were headlining that punk stage.
And then The Used as well.
Mm.
Are they even going to come?
We'll get to
They
it.
showed up to
We'll get
download, right?
But you know what I mean? Like obviously, okay, let's get straight into it. A Day to Remember. Now, like, we have thoughts about A Day to Remember. We've been very vocal about our thoughts on Day to Remember. Aside from who they are and what they are, that is a massive pull for Slam Dunk because they're a band that are like being talked about as potentially headlining Download in the next 2 to 3 years. And like, it's probably the equivalent of them getting Bring Me the Horizon just before lockdown, maybe.
Yeah, I
But
just can't. I can't agree with it. Like,
no.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, I think, for a lot of.
and
Well, it's not really tricky. It's kind of simple, but
It's simple for us because we know what happened, and I want to like preface this with, please go and look it up online because this isn't really the place to go too in depth on some of the legal issues and stuff. We're not going to sit here and dissect all the court proceedings and stuff like that and what happened, but just Google what happened with Josh Woodward. There's a reason why whenever A Day to Remember comes on when we're doing a vlog, we always kind of, sorry to speak in Gen Z, but it gives me the ick. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
for them to still be given a platform, like we had it with Architects at Bloodstock, didn't we, Shane? Where we were like, are we okay to be enjoying this? But I actually can't enjoy A Day to Remember anymore.
no,
it's the same with when we saw Pantera at Download,
Yeah.
and you could argue that, all right, we're not paying them because you're going to a festival, but I don't know. It's like this one's a bit. The other bands that we've seen were also problematic, but I don't know. This is just a bit too
it seems
problematic.
it seems to be a bit of a running theme at the moment as well. What with the bands that shall not be named doing a freaking arena tour, like that.
Yeah.
These people are still kind of given a platform, and like, yes, I completely understand if people aren't aware, because there are people even within like my friendship circle that were like, wait, what, when I let them know about it this morning. So, you know, not to blame anyone, but yeah, like, if you don't know what's going on, do look it up and then just, you know, make choices for yourself. But for me personally, I am a little bit confused
Once you know that
about,
information,
yeah,
it's hard to really separate it from.
but also, sorry, Gib, like, I do get what you're saying though about it being a big pull for them, you know.
Because that's
But yeah,
probably like size wise, that's probably the biggest band that Slam Dunk maybe have ever had. A band that's been main support at Download twice, literally like a few years away, I think, from headlining Download. regardless of what you think of them, regardless of everything else.
Yeah. If they
Like-
continue to get booked, which they will,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
the
because
direction
people
that they're
go see
going in.
them. If people keep
Mm.
going to see them, then that's what happens, isn't it? Like that's the industry. That's the way it works. But
Yeah.
until people know why they shouldn't be going to see them,
Mm.
it's impossible to stop that trajectory.
So I guess we can summarize that with, I wish we could be excited about this, and I understand why it's a big deal for Slam Dunk, but personally,
I mean, I'm still gonna go.
bit of a miss.
It's not stopped me from going because there's other stages on, and I think
Yeah.
if it was
Yeah.
if it was one of those festivals where the everything else stops while the headliner's on the main stage, like
Yeah.
I'd probably just
Yeah.
leave
I mean-
actually before they came on. Do you know what I mean? But
I mean, I've seen Neck Deep over Shikari at Slam Dunk before. I'm sure I could see Neck Deep over a Date to Remember without any issues.
or Electric Callboy, that would be
Or
perfect for
Electric
me.
Callboy.
Actually, Electric Callboy, if they're headlining the second stage, that would be perfect for me because I'll just go and have a good fun dance and then go home, or or go back into the city wherever we go. Probably Leeds.
Yeah.
To be honest, I
Speaking-
don't even
No, go on.
know why I would even bother looking or even try to get excited about headliners for Slam Dunk because I just don't seem to make it anymore. Like the heat stroke just gets me now.
Yeah, you didn't have a
So-
great time this year, did you?
Yeah, it got since it moved to Hatfield Park. I just can't last anymore.
Mm.
Are you sure it's
There's
because
less
it moved
inside.
and not because you're getting old?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot more inside at the uni, and
Yeah.
now it's like there's 8 It doesn't really matter who headlines because I'll probably be asleep.
So go on. Who else do we think is going to headline the other stages? Because is there 4 or 5 stages at Slam Dunk now?
According to the 2024 sitemap, there is the Slam Dunk stage, Key Club stage, Monster Energy stage, Krang stage, and GoPro stage. So that's 5.
Right.
So
the GoPro stage is the second stage. I know that.
yeah. So it would make sense if it was a Day to Remember, Electric Callboy, Neck Deep, and either the Used or Newfound Glory. Probably, I would say.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But then that being said, I don't know if Electric Callboy would be headliners.
I mean, Electric Callboy are pretty big. They got
Yeah,
the size of that 10-set download in 2022,
that's true. Actually,
and then
yeah.
everybody said they need to be on the second stage, and then they were supposed to be on the second stage this year, but had to pull out because Nico wasn't well. But like they'll headline a stage. I don't know what stage it will be, but
Yeah, that's fair enough. Actually, yeah.
and if they're not headlining a stage, then Slam Dunk have missed the trick because they deserve to.
I think Electric Callboy have sort of had trajectory in general in recent years, like from when they first debuted, and then like for Neck Deep, they've been on a bit of a roll recently, particularly since the new album and stuff. And I think they've reconnected with a lot of their, I don't want to say historical fans because that makes everybody sound really old, but like I'm also talking
are
about
really
myself
old.
here. It's look, I'm slagging myself off as much as anybody else because it's their new album that has sort of got me back
Yeah.
into them. Do you know what I mean? So I think, for them, so then for me trying to decide who the other two are, it's like, okay, so if we're going with this theme of bands that have kind of on a bit of a roll at the moment / are playing shows for the first time in a while, like A Day to Remember, if we had to guess, who would the last couple be?
I'd
Because
say
it's
the
not,
Used
at
have
least
to
not
be,
for
surely.
me. Yeah,
You also have to think about the genres as well,
true.
because you can say, oh, this band is bigger, this band is big, but they're not going to have all the same style of band. Do you know what I mean? I know Electric Callboy are different, but then, like Graphic Nature and Split Chain and Stray, Knuckle Puck, Less Than Jake. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, as it is
We're-
as well, to be fair, like that's big. The Never Happy Ever After.
Alkaline Trio as well who like haven't really been, unless I've just missed them, haven't really been about much.
Just because of the shit that Gibby got for playing in Blink.
Oh yeah.
Because he pretty much ditched them to join Blink, and then when he got sort of ousted without being told, he sort of went, oh well, he just sort of came crawling back, didn't he? Really?
Even looking at some of the smaller bands like Zebrahead, they seem to be at Slam Dunk pretty much every year. Same with Less Than Jake, to be honest.
Yeah,
Zebrahead are there every year.
they're staples, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think.
Which is fair enough. Like they've got. I mean, I'm not massive fans of either of them, but you know, it works because they keep getting booked. So clearly they're doing something right.
One to look at as well, and this point kind of is double pronged in that they are one of the only, or one of the few femme/non-male artists on this lineup so far, in Delilah Bond as a headliner for the Key Club stage in particular, because she's bringing her new album tour to the Key Club in November, I think, of this year, and second, she headlined the BBC introducing stage at Reading and Leeds. So you know, I think that would make a lot of sense for her.
So what you think it would be like? Maybe like Newfound Glory underneath the Data Remember on the main stage or something like that, rather than headlining.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I would go for. Maybe I have a bias because, like, despite the size and fame, I am a bigger Delilah Bomb fan than I am a Newfound Glory fan, personally. So that could be personal bias. But I think also, given the track record of her career, particularly in the festival season of this year and with like the album coming up and her playing at Key Club and stuff like that, it would make sense. Or at least it's something I would like to see in terms of giving artists a platform, sort of like what you were saying about Electric Callboy and potentially headlining the stage. It's like give them that opportunity now. And with Key Club being one of the smaller stages, it would add up for me, but that's just the theory.
I'd like them to. I'd like Delilah Bond to headline a stage because, yeah, as you say, like, especially being one of the only non-male acts to be. I mean, this is only the first announcement, so there could be a few more. But I get what you're saying. Like, it would be a big statement to say, okay, we've got all these bands and whatever, but on, even if it is the smallest stage, like, just having that be a thing, being like, like a non-male artist has got to the top of this stage. Would be like a really nice thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I really do hope that in future lineup announcements for next year's stand up, we stand up. Completely lost my train of thought now. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do hope in future announcements that we get for this lineup for Slam Dunk, there we go, that we do see more female, femme, and non-male or non-mask representation, or mask, you know, non-binary mask, trans mask, whatever you want. Just some more
diversity.
Yeah, diversity in the gender department, because I think it's important, because there's we've talked about it a lot on this channel as well, both in vlogs and like in these kind of videos, where we've said that we're loving the sort of rise in gender non-conforming / disabled or black or whatever, like, artists that are coming through in the scene. So
and it never feels like it's like it never feels like it's pandering or it's like forced in any way. You got artists like As Everything Unfolds, unfortunately, I mean, I say like my brain's just gone blank, but you know, there are loads of them out there.
Meet Me at the Altar as well.
Cassiette,
Creeper,
Rory.
They opened, I can't remember which stage it was, but they opened one of the stages at Slam Dunk a couple of years back, and it was packed. Like, it was so busy. And it was so good to see as well, because it was like, you're going in, no one wants to go hard first, Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But everyone just went, nah, don't mind that. We're just gonna go,
Yeah.
and that's what they
Yeah,
did. And it
that
was
was
so fun.
that was me in 2022 for the Covey.
Hmm.
I can't remember if they opened the main stage or they were the second act, but it was the first act that we saw, and I thought that I was safe to pit by myself for La Di Da, and I should know better by now at the Covey shows when you pit for La Di Da. I was on the floor in seconds.
Yeah, I remember you
Um,
coming out
I
and just
literally
feeling
went
dead.
flying. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, though, be this a warning to you: if you go and see an opening act at Slam Dunk, don't necessarily expect a tame time.
I broke my little finger at the first band at Slam Dunk.
Oh, there you go then. Word to the wise: if you
It just
don't want to break
happens.
your pinky finger,
That was like that was one of the last years at the uni. God, it was
yeah,
oh god, I stopped someone from falling over,
ah,
but and
That's what you get for
they
trying
were
to do
like
the right
twice.
thing, Shane.
I say that's what
I
you get for
know
trying to be the hero. Yeah.
my little finger at a right angle. It was
Oh.
and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then saw my hand. I was like, "Oh, nah, I'm not actually."
The adrenaline wears off.
Yeah.
But let's let's look at some of the let's look at some of the smaller acts on this post then, because as like I know it's only the first announcement, but you can kind of get a feel for who the quote unquote smaller artists are.
Mm.
One stands out to me straight away because I've been getting into them a lot lately. Split Chain. I was
Yeah,
supposed
they're
to be,
good.
I was supposed to be going to go and see them on Saturday actually, and I can't now. But they kind of like they remind me of like Deftones if Deftones kind of wanted to be Linkin Park a little bit.
Yeah, they're sort of like that new metal
Yeah,
mixed with shoegaze.
yeah,
Mm.
kind of a bit like
Yeah,
Loathe.
they're
But like I was really looking forward to seeing them this weekend, and you know, for reasons it can't happen. But at least now I've got to look forward to seeing them again next year. So,
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
how a lot of people feel about Neck Deep as well, because they just they just released tickets for their tour, and then it's like, oh well, I saw a lot of people today going, oh well, at least I'm not too sad now that I didn't get tickets.
Mm.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is Oasis need to play Slam Dunk.
Yeah. No,
Please
thank
no.
you. No offense, but I'm all right.
I mean, it'd be
But yeah,
cheaper.
it's good. Well,
Oh
yeah,
no,
that's true.
no,
Well,
because
maybe.
We don't, look. We
Slam
could
Dunk will start.
we could
Slam Dunk will start dynamic pricing.
we could do a whole video on that. Let's not get into that right now.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
What I do like though is like Shay mentioned it earlier in the video about sort of bands coming from across the pond and things like that, and bands that you don't see in the UK very often. Like Slam Dunk are pretty good at procuring those kinds of artists, like Hot Mulligan, and like I know that obviously bands like Hot Mulligan are quite a staple at Trees and stuff as well. But like for bands that don't often do UK tours,
Mm,
you know, it's pretty good, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, I was quite pleased to see Hit the Lights on there, just because it's been years since I've even seen their name.
I
I've-
can't even. I can't say I've heard of them to be completely
No,
honest.
I've,
Which
I've
is
heard
another
of
thing
them.
I quite like about
Yeah.
this lineup. Actually, is it's one of the first times that I've actually looked at a slam dunk lineup and gone, especially a first announcement. You know, so
Mm.
it gives me something to listen to.
A lot of the bands on there are names that I know, like through doing research for videos about trees and stuff, like Dream State, Movements.
Yeah,
And like so you kind of put a couple of songs on a
mouth
playlist.
culture as well.
Yeah, but you kind of put a couple of songs on a playlist from each of those artists, and you think, yeah, I'll just put it on shuffle and see what happens. Oh, I like that one. I'll add it to my list. So
Mm.
eventually, like now, I've just got like, you know, the occasional Dream State song, and it'll come on and be like, oh yeah, actually, I like them. So that when
Yeah,
they do get announced for things like this, I'm like, well, I might only have 5 songs on my playlist, but I know that I'd probably end up going to see them because I like those
Yeah.
songs. Do you know what I mean? So
true.
Starting Line, no, not really heard of. The Ataris, I know they're quite popular, the Ataris, but I've never.
I like the
bothered with them.
Ataris.
What kind of
No,
stuff is it?
It's just they're one of them sort of staple bands that you see on any sort of like 2000s onwards sort of emo scene kid pop punk playlist.
I was going to say, isn't an Atari an old video game console?
It
Yeah,
is.
that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I first heard them when they done a cover of The Boys of Summer, you know, the Don Henley song.
Oh yeah. Oh, was that them?
Yeah, they did a cover of it, and it was so good. And then
It's like a
that's what
pop
got
punk
me into
one.
them.
Is it? Like a
Yeah,
little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, at least
like a
I've heard that
heavier
one. Then.
version of it.
There's definitely more of a swing. Like, obviously, I know that like Delilah Bond, Electric Callboy, etc., don't fit this theme, but they've really gone back to like pop punk slash like older style 2000s pop punk. Because I know that it's been a bit of a running theme in the last couple of years where people are going, Slam Dunk's not really Slam Dunk anymore, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, particularly if you do have like A Day to Remember, Neck Deep, Newfound Glory potentially a headlining, it's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of come back to that.
When people say that Slam Dunk isn't Slam Dunk anymore, like what do they expect? Because Sum 41 have just announced their, you know, like they're literally about to do their last ever tour.
Allegedly.
Yumi, it's well, yeah, for now, let's say. Yumi at 6 have just finished. Like they did their last festival show at Slam Dunk this year.
Yeah.
You know, like Fall Out Boy are too big, My Chemical Romance are too big, Paramore are too big. You know, Papa Roach maybe. But like a lot of these like established emo bands and established pop punk bands are either too big or just come into like a stage in their careers where they're going on hiatuses or just full on breaks. Do you know what I mean?
Or just doing like genre shifts and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like they could get the story so far. Well, more so a couple of years back, if the story so far had played, people would have said, "Oh well, what are they booked them for? They're not pop punk anymore." And it's like, well, with the beauty of the internet and like just the culture moving forwards in general, is that we've had all of these new, quote unquote, new genres like fly out all over the place and that don't necessarily fit the sort of pop punk. So I honestly, I think it's happening with all festivals. Like we've talked about it with Download before, where it's like, right, it's time to retire the old headliners now, bring in the new generation, you know, which they kind of broke through with Bring Me, and then obviously this year they switched it up a bit with like Queens of the Stone Age and stuff. And it's like, well, unless you want to go and see like the same bands year in, year out, you're gonna have a little bit of a variety in the genres that you've got represented there, you know, especially because we're already in quite like a niche genre as alternative music fans. So unless we have like a separate festival for every single genre, I don't know what people want, because then it's like, well, how specific do you get? Do you have a whole festival dedicated to metalcore, a whole festival dedicated to deathcore? It's like it.
And those festivals do exist, by the way. But it's like Trivium are playing Bloodstock next year. Trivium would never play Slam Dunk, but both Trivium and Newfound Glory would play Download. Do you know what I mean? So like, there are those bigger festivals that's like a melting pot of
crossover.
Yeah,
exactly. Because that's how they attract so many people. Is that they get different people for different bands, you know. So,
but then those smaller festivals are going to kind of experiment within their limitation. Like Electric Callboy are a Slam Dunk band as much as they are a Download band, but they wouldn't necessarily go down well at maybe they would, I don't know, but at Bloodstock or Trees they might not have the same kind of thing.
Have Bullet played Slam Dunk before? I'm sure Bullet have played Slam Dunk before at some point.
No, they played Trees.
I know that's what. I was going to say. I was like, I'm sure they played Slam Dunk as well, but I might be wrong. Like, there's definitely crossover there as well. So it's like, you know, but then when you think about it, like Trees, okay, if Trees only booked punk bands, you'd still have a lineup full of bands that sound completely different to each other because the genre is that wide. Like,
yeah,
you know, and also you're never going to please everyone, no matter what you do. You know, the promoters are just doing their best to simultaneously create like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like not a
Community?
collection.
Like a culture?
I think it's kind of like a collection of artists that are similar or sit in
Yeah.
a similar vein or are sort of related to each other in some way.
Yeah.
Like you would in an art gallery. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You kind of collect similar pieces or whatever for a
Like a theme.
showcase. Yeah, like a theme, but
Yeah.
also bring enough diversity that as a business, they're going to attract enough custom
Mm.
and please as many people as they possibly can. Um, and also just like showcase as much music as you can.
Mm.
A lot of new artists will get platforms at quote unquote smaller festivals like Bloodstock, Trees, day festivals like Slam Dunk, and even All Points East to a certain extent, and things like that, where it's like, okay, so artists that aren't quite big enough to be booked by Download might play elsewhere, like
Mm.
Scene Queen, for example, who has grown rapidly in the last couple of years, played Slam Dunk 22 on an absolutely heaving key club stage. And then the next year, I can't remember what stage she played this year at
She
Download,
was
but
on
she
the
played
second stage at Download this year, which is massive to go to that, you know.
Do you know what I mean? And then you've got like Bloodstock with the metal to the masses competition where they showcase that. Like, you know what I mean? I think you've got to have new stuff. Otherwise, you're just going to be listening to the same things all the time and seeing the same gigs all the time.
Slam Dunk, from time to time, does do something like that. And the only reason I know is because a friend of mine has a ska band, and they played at Slam Dunk, and they opened one of the small stages. I can't remember which one, but it was like, God, it was like 2 or 3 years ago. But they won a competition, and they got to open at Slam Dunk, and it was
What
like
they
that was
called?
massive for them. Codename Colin. They, I mean, they're a small local band. I say that, but then they've got quite a following around the country. They just played Punk Rock Holiday,
All right.
which is like, again, it's huge for them.
Hmm.
But that's how good these competitions are when they give bands platforms,
Mm.
because it grows their fan base, and then
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And a lot of these bands that you see here that are like their house, like, I mean, you look at this lineup. There's not many bands there that you wouldn't say you've never heard of,
Mm.
Mm.
but all of them would have started somewhere like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Trying to get onto bills of shows and
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Gib, go on.
Well, I was just leading off that. Like, there was a famous quote by someone, I can't remember who it was by, but someone said, at some point, your favourite band was a local band.
yeah,
Whether that's like, you know, you're still looking like smaller bands now, like Split Chain and Graphic Nature and whatever, or to like your Metallicas and your Guns N' Roses as Guns N' Roses, you know, like,
Yeah, they all started somewhere.
yeah. And like, the best bands, when an opportunity like that comes along, the best bands just run with it,
Yeah,
you know.
grab the bull by the horns, as they say.
Yeah.
right. You get the
Yeah.
exceptions, but there's not many of them really.
Mm.
Like I mean, off the top of my head, like Busted and McFly, somewhat manufactured bands, if you like.
Mm.
Wargasm were just like big before anyone even really knew who they were.
Mm.
But apart from that, like, yeah, most of the bands that you'll see were playing in a pub
Yeah.
when they started, you know?
Like, I mean, thinking about this lineup specifically, to have, I know I keep talking about it, but Delilah Bond on a first wave announcement
Mm.
as an artist that produces from their garage. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like we had that kind of thing with Rory, I think it was last year.
Mhm.
It's absolutely amazing for this platform to be available to them.
Mm.
Even before they've released like a top 10 charts album or whatever, do you know what I mean? is really awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more of those kinds of acts come out in like the next few waves of lineup announcement. But yeah, for someone like Delilah to be on this from the get-go is sick. Is it's great for like up and coming and independent artists for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like there's 21 bands on this poster, and there are going to be a lot more announced.
Yeah.
But even like looking at these 21, as you said before, Shane, like there aren't many bands that you can turn around and say, at least I've not heard of them before. But it's festivals like this that is like, this is those bands' chance to like prove themselves and be like I only got into Split Chain through, like just like the fact that I was going to go and see them play this festival in Liverpool, and they were just on further down, and thought, oh well, I'm not really going for them, but I'll listen to them. And now, like, I was gonna go, I can't go now obviously, but in my head I was like going for them almost as much as I was going for the band that I actually wanted to go and see. But it's like, though, like, okay, I've not seen them at this festival, but at Slam Dunk next year, that's going to be their opportunity to be like, do you know what, we might be first on the smallest stage, but if you've got to play it like it's the biggest show you're ever going to do, because you've got to play it as if like everybody who's at this stage right now has come to see us. Let's put on the biggest show, so that like next year they get invited and they'll play the stage up, and then after that the next thing they're on the main stage, and then next thing on the main stage at Download and stuff. And that's how you kind of keep that.
They've done pretty well, to be fair, because like the first time a lot of people had even heard of them was they stepped in last minute at Download. When there was that big exodus of bands right before it started, they obviously had to find replacements, and Split Chain were there, and they went, yeah.
Weren't they the one that led the charge on Barclays?
No.
Or did they come in afterwards?
Unless I've got it the wrong.
I'm sure they were the first band to raise the issue. Our fact checker is gonna.
Let me. Yeah. Continue.
Unless I've got it the wrong way around, I thought that they came in, and Speed dropped out. But
it ended up being 6 bands dropped out.
Yeah, I know.
And they all did like a charity gig in Birmingham that same night. So Download were like 6 bands down on the Friday this year. And I'm sure it was Split Chain that started that.
I may have got it the wrong way around, because I know that like bands came in that were similar.
They donated their artist fee. Sorry.
Okay. So like what Scene Queen did.
Interrupt. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm just reading I think it's a tweet or an X or whatever
I've heard people call it Twix now, which is.
It's a tweet and it's Twitter. I'm sorry, that's what it is, and that is what I'm calling it. Yeah, so they basically said that they came out in support of the other bands and artists that had participated in pulling out, and like the boycott, and also the conversations between Download and Barclaycard. And then they said, we will be donating our entire artist fee from Download to Palestine Children's Relief Fund and medical aid for Palestinians.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just as those are the facts, but you were pretty much right, Shane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, it's. But that seems to have. I mean, it's. Fair play to them. They've done it.
They've made a name for themselves, haven't they? And
yeah. Because I was a bit. Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually know about the donating their fee thing. Because that was one of the things. Because I kind of liked them, and then I saw that, and then I was a bit like, oh, should I listen to them if they're just sort of being opportunistic, and like there's reasons why people have dropped out, and then they've just gone, yeah, we'll do it. And obviously, like, they've got ambition and stuff.
what they've done there is sort of mitigated themselves almost by they technically played Download Festival for free and supported, you know, um, supported people with
Yeah.
their fee rather than taking it for themselves. So essentially, they played Download for free for the exposure.
Yeah. But otherwise,
You know,
like,
which I don't blame them for.
Which worked.
otherwise, like, those bands would have pulled out, and none of the money would have gone to the fund. And what they've done is, okay, well, Download are looking for somebody to step in, and they're going to pay them. So we're going to take their money, and we're going to give it to the fund.
Yeah.
So it is kind of, I wouldn't say it was like chasing clout or whatever, or doing it for the exposure. It is kind of like a chance to go, they're willing to give someone this much money. Why don't we do it and then just make sure that that money gets to where it needs to go, rather than just to a band that would do it for the exposure or would do it for the clout kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess I get yeah.
But anyway, like it shows to me that they're good people, and as well as I enjoying the music. I know that I'd enjoy seeing them live because I can already tell a lot about them, you know. So this is my recommendation to everyone: go and watch Split Chain.
Are there any acts? I know this is still only the first announcement. Are there any acts that you're surprised weren't on there? Because I have one in particular who I think may end up further on down the line in the later announcement, but I was genuinely surprised not to see 4 Year Strong on there. Because they've just released a new album, which is it's really good. And it's sort of you can sort of look on this lineup that they're kind of like Slam Dunk's going back to sort of being what Slam Dunk was.
Yeah.
And then if they're doing that, then I would have thought 4 Year Strong would have been on there. But who's to say they're not there later on in the future?
That's it, yeah. This is only the first announcement. There's probably going to be another 40 bands, maybe 30, 40 bands added.
Boston
more,
Manor. I'd say
Manor,
Boston Manor. I'm quite surprised that with like I think Sundivers coming out
Holding Absence
imminently. I think it's like next week.
I think Holding Absence will be there.
I've Holding Absence played. No, Noble Art of Self-Destruction came out after the last time they played it, didn't it? Because it only came out last year. It's only been this year. They didn't play this year because Lucas was with Funeral for a Friend. Al's back. Hey. Right, sorry.
Hello.
Fact checker Al, you were going to fact check us.
I was trying to fact check and then I had severe technical difficulties. Another band, probably Vapovi. I know that they've been recording album 4, which I assume will be imminent, either just before or just after like festival season next year. I imagine that will probably be released. So that would be a good platform for them. But then also I can see them returning to Trees as well, because they've been missing from that lineup for a couple of years now, if they were to be doing like album promotion, you know. So it's almost impossible really to say, because there's so many bands that I'm like, yeah, these are missing. But if you added all of the bands that we all said were missing, you'd have like a month-long festival, you know what I mean? So
most of the budget for this festival will have gone on A Day to Remember. And whether we agree with that decision or not, musically they're still one of the biggest artists in the scene. And you compare it
and
to
one of the more iconic ones of our generation.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so difficult because, like, as we said with Architects in the Bloodstock video, are you a bad person for liking the music of a band that you don't like as people? And it's, I mean, that's a line that you have to draw yourself. No one else gets that.
Yeah, it's such a grey area, and it's no one's going to agree.
No,
the same boundary. No, there's no rule. There's no guidebook that says this is what you should do when X band does X thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
the large chunk of the budget for this festival will have gone to A Day to Remember. because that is like a marquee signing, like a
When you're looking at
massive.
the facts of the situation of what's actually going to happen in the future,
Yeah.
you can say that a
Yeah.
data remember are future download headliners,
Oh,
and that just
Yeah, within 5 years, I think a data remember will be headlining download. And so to get them at Slam Dunk right now is like,
is big. Yeah.
if they drop the ball on this, then I think that might set them back. Download might give them another, well, maybe not. It's on them now to take that opportunity and prove to them, prove to other festivals why they deserve to be at the top of the lineup, why they deserve to take up the biggest chunk of the budget.
Yeah.
So, are we going?
I always go.
Yeah.
I've been slam dunked twice. For me, the lineup as it is,
Yeah, they are on there.
justify the ticket to me.
They are on there as it is. Are we going?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe. I'm always a bit hit or miss with slam dunk.
Yeah. Would you go to South or North? Living in
South.
Leeds.
I would probably always go to North.
What about you, Gibby? Because you had a good time at South.
I did. And I had a bad time at North the year before that, but I don't think I'd have that bad time again at North.
North has had a rough time of it the last couple of years, man. Like,
I am
real.
glad. I am glad I
You
did
dodged
South
the bullet
this year.
year.
Definitely. We had glorious sunshine at South. And then as I
Literally.
literally was getting a coach home the next day, back up north to Liverpool. And you could just feel, and I'm seeing videos of people being swamped out and stuff. And it was just, I definitely made the right decision. But like, there's nothing the festival can do in that situation. Do you know what I mean? Okay, they can.
The weather is the weather, like.
Yeah, there's only so much straw you can put down or whatever. But I think I'd probably do North just to, because I missed a year. I'd probably, I don't know. Or maybe both. Maybe it's the year we do both.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not like against going to South. It's purely a convenience thing because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I can leave my house, go to the festival, and return to my house.
But if
it's very flat down south.
If Neck Deep and Electric Callboy don't clash with a Data Remember, if there's nobody on at the same time as a Data Remember, we can leave South while a Data Remember are on, get the train back up to North, and then we're already at North for the next day.
See, and the fact that it's now backwards frustrates me. That's like a whole other topic in itself. I could moan about that forever. It's North first.
That's why.
How dare they change it?
To annoy me because they moved it around. Not fun, is it?
Maybe they should alternate it. Maybe they should alternate it so that like North goes first one year, South goes first the next.
Yeah.
Because I miss it being the other way around as well.
That was the natural order of things. I understand you've got to switch it up sometimes, try something different, but maybe I've just been in the North too long, but I believe that.
No, you're a Northerner now. Welcome.
First. Eh?
You're a Northerner now. Welcome.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for the accent.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Nobody's perfect.
Well, that's it from us then, guys. Do let us know down in the comments who you're excited to see, what you think of the lineup, and if you think there's anyone missing. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Toodles.
Bye.
Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. If you want to see something similar to this, then you can click on the link here. If you want to see something very different to this, then you can click on the link here. And if you haven't subscribed already and you want to, you can click on the link here. If you want to come and follow us on social media, you can click on the links in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.